I want to ask you also about something that you and I have talked about several times over the years, which is likability. With respect, you're not the most popular man in the Republican conference. I think you know that by now. You wear it as a badge of honor because you say it's because you stand up for principle. But again, when you're president of the United States, you have to have at least some measure or level of likability in order to reach out and get things done. How will you overcome that?
Well, you know, I'll point out that there's an almost inverse relationship between being liked and appreciated in Washington, D.C. and reviled back home, and being reviled in Washington and appreciated back home. I mean, you remember, because you came to Texas after we had the historic fight to stop Obamacare, to defund Obamacare, where a lot of people in Washington, now I didn't support the shutdown, but I did support defunding Obamacare. I think it was a mistake when Harry Reid and the Democrats forced a shutdown. But my point was, you were in Texas when I came home to the state convention of the Texas Federation of Republican Women, and you saw the reaction of, in that case, the women back home who enthusiastically appreciated someone who was standing and fighting.
I absolutely did, but the White House isn't in Texas. It's in Washington.
That's part of the problem.
Well, but you have to work with, if you want to be president of the United States, you're going to live in the White House and work within the confines of the government. You know, you're asking people to text about the Constitution.
Yeah.
So you obviously, you know, you don't want to change the system that much. So within those confines, as president, how do you change that? How do you get to a place where you would be likable enough and have relationships enough to actually get things done?
Well, let me draw a distinction on the likability question that you're raising. There's a distinction between how you treat people and what it is you say and do. In my time in the Senate, there have been more than a few rocks tossed my directions from Democrats and Republicans. And yet in my entire time there, I haven't reciprocated. You have never heard me speak ill of any senator, Republican or Democrat, and I don't intend to start. And in fact, in the presidential race in 2016, there may be other candidates who choose to throw rocks my direction. I'm not going to engage in the personal mudslinging, in the negative attacks on people's character. And I think that's a big part of treating people with civility and respect that I've endeavored to do every day I've been in Washington.